Well, for many people, faith communities are meant to be a place of comfort and safety and guidance, but for some survivors of domestic abuse, it's the very place they turned to for help. And it became another place where they are told to endure the unimaginable. So, spiritual beliefs can be twisted and misused by abusers, and sometimes even by the people in positions of authority to pressure survivors into staying in dangerous relationships. Today's question comes from someone struggling with exactly that. This is Survivor to Survivor.
Survivor to survivor, break the silence. In the depths of silence, a voice emerges. A voice that says, "You are not alone." Welcome to Survivor, where strength rises through shared stories, where pain transforms into resilience, where survivors connect and empower each other. Your story matters. Your voice matters. You matter. Join the movement. Subscribe now. Welcome to Survivor to Survivor.
Well, welcome back. Let's get into today's email. So it says, "Hi, Tara. I'm struggling with something that happened when I tried to leave my husband. He had been emotionally and physically abusive for years. There were times he shoved me, screamed in my face, and once threw a chair across the room during an argument. When I finally got the courage to leave, I went to my pastor for help because I trusted him and thought he would support me. Instead, he told me my marriage was sacred and that God hates divorce. He said my husband just needed prayers and forgiveness and that I should go home and work on being a better wife so our marriage could be restored. He even suggested that maybe my husband's anger came from feeling disrespected. I left that meeting feeling ashamed and confused. Part of me wondered if maybe I was failing God by leaving. But the thought of going back terrified me. I ended up leaving the church altogether because I didn't know who to trust anymore. Did I do the wrong thing? Can someone still have faith and choose not to stay in an abusive marriage?" So, first off, I want to say something that every survivor needs to hear very clearly, right? Abuse is never something you are required to endure in the name of faith. No spiritual belief, no scripture, no religious teaching should ever be used to justify someone harming you. What you experienced is called something. It's called spiritual abuse. Spiritual abuse happens when faith, religion, or scripture is used as a tool to control you, silence you, manipulate the person that it's being used against. Abusers sometimes quote religious teachings to demand submission or forgiveness without accountability. And unfortunately, sometimes well meaning but uninformed leaders repeat those same messages without understanding the danger they create. Forgiveness does not mean returning to harm. Prayer does not replace safety. And leaving abuse does not mean you are failing God. Faith and safety are not enemies. Many survivors maintain deep spiritual faith while still choosing to remove themselves from relationships that are destructive and violent. Healthy faith communities understand that protecting someone from harm is not betraying a marriage. It's the act of compassion and wisdom. What happened to you was not a failure of faith. It was a failure of the people around you who were supposed to help you navigate this dangerous situation. You made a courageous decision by choosing your safety. And many survivors eventually rediscover their faith in ways that are stronger and healthier because it is no longer tied to suffering and silence. Your relationship with faith is personal, and no one, and I mean no one, gets to weaponize that against you. So, spiritual pressure can make leaving abuse even more complicated for survivors. If your faith community supported you or if they failed you, what did you learn from that experience? Share your story in here. It could help someone who is struggling with the same conflict between faith and safety. Share in the comments. Survivor to Survivor exists because people are brave enough to ask the question that many others are afraid to say out loud. So if you'd like to submit your question in an upcoming episode, email us at podcast@breakthesilencedv.org and you will remain anonymous. Also, support for survivors doesn't stop with awareness. It also requires resources. You can help support us with programs like Walmart's Spark Good Roundup program. Visit www.walmart.com/sparkgood. Search for Break the Silence Against Domestic Violence as your premier charity of choice. We are a 501c3. And round up your purchases to support survivors. Every small action helps survivors find their voice and their safety. And we will see you next time on Survivor to Survivor.